Good night, Belizeans at home and abroad. This is the Belizean Affairs Show number 434. 434. My name is Leonard Brackett. I'll be chairman for the moment. And tonight's show will improvise, per se. And we're starting a little late, by the way, so I'm not going to demur too long. I'm just going to go ahead and say a short prayer as we normally do, and after which I'll follow up with a short scripture reading. I'll just bow my head. Divine loving Father, once again, we come before thy presence, asking that thou would continue to have mercy upon us, that thou would continue to guide and protect us, be with us, bless our family members, friends, and loved ones, wherever they are, as if they were each mentioned by name and number. Thou knowest our hearts, our desires, you know more secret thoughts. Please let the words of our mouth and the meditation of our hearts and the meditation of our minds and the contriteness of our hearts be acceptable before thy divine presence. Please bless this program tonight, that whatever we present may accrue to some positive public benefit to our Belizeans at home and those abroad as well as others. For us these mercies in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you very much. I'll just go ahead and do a short scripture reading. And I think I'll look for something in the New Testament. Let's see what I'm going to read here. Matthew chapter 9, verses, let me see. I'll start at verse 3. And behold, certain of the scribes said within themselves, this man blasphemeth. And Jesus, knowing their thoughts, said, wherefore think ye evil in your heart? For whatsoever, for whether is easier to say, thy sins be forgiven thee, or to say, arise and walk. And that is a short scripture reading for tonight. I don't see any of our other panelists in the background yet, so I'll proceed with the program in the interest of timeliness. Uh, mm, we still have a lot of accidents happening in our country, a lot more than should be happening. Unfortunately, most of these accidents result from the same type of patterns and behavior, of our drivers and the people using the highways and roads and streets. And unfortunately, as my younger brother would say, it is what it is. And for as much as we plea and supplicate to our people, of course, we don't have a wide enough range that uh, people would be able to, hear our plea and maybe, answer to our plea or be considerate. The bottom line is that each and every individual have the ability to be able to recognize when they need to be prudent, when they need to be cautious, when they need to, follow the laws of civility and look out for their own well-being and the well-being of others. And unfortunately, we're dealing with machines. When you have these drivers driving on the road, these machines are made up of hundreds of parts, any of which can fail at any given moment. But so long as the machine is working, apparently people are, you know, dismissive of the idea that something could end up happening, and they just carry on because the machine is responding and working. And sometimes when they try to overtake each other and they push the accelerator to pick up additional speed, the engine doesn't respond adequately enough and give them enough speed so that they can overtake successfully or adequately. and then there's sometimes oncoming traffic, which allows for, and then some of the other drivers too, when they see another driver is trying to overtake, they speed up instead of slow down and let the other driver take past them and get back in the line. They speed up. I call it dirty driving, right? Inconsiderate driving. Because when you see somebody trying to overtake you for whatever reason, there's no reason for you to speed up and force them to stay in the outside lane when there are oncoming traffic in a two-lane traffic system, and you have other vehicles coming, and you leave them out there, you know, in danger. I mean, that's kind of, like I said, that's kind of dirty driving, just mad because somebody is trying to pass you. For whatever reason they're trying to pass you, let them go. But you'd rather see them crash into something else while you continue driving and go about your business. But anyhow, I'll yield on that and I'll just try to focus on the agenda for the evening. And let me see what's to be going with this. No, so it's up there. I don't see nobody else set either, so I'll just proceed. Okay, so let me see. In the interest of time, I have here. Oh, could you permit me a minute just to let me launch the other part of our program because there are other individuals who listen to our program on a different. Just give me a few minutes, please. Okay. Okay. So I'll leave that for right now. Okay. And I need to open up my Constitution of Belize electronic version. So just spare me another minute here. Let me get to that. So, okay. Come on. Here we go. Okay. Let me get in there. And I need to go. I need to go to section. Okay. Section 6, section 4, 3. I need to get to section 3. That's 5. Oops, I passed it so quick. Okay, I need to get to section. Okay, I got it. Turn it sideways. I'm sorry for babbling a little bit there just now. I had to go and find the particular section that I was looking for, which is section 3 of the Constitution of Belize, which deals with the fundamental rights and freedoms of Belize and Belizeans, as well as any other person, whether Belizeans born in Belize, nationalized in Belize, or are transiting Belize, living in Belize, so long as they're within the boundaries of the country, they're what you call fundamental rights that is afforded to just about anyone, because those rights are God-given rights. That's the reason why they call them fundamental rights. They're not bestowed on us by the government and or by the Constitution itself. they are God-given rights bestowed by God. There are fundamental rights which should not be trampled upon or tread by no one. And according to our Constitution, uh, Section 3 of the Constitution of Belize, all the way through Section 19, is the portion in which the fundamental rights are enumerated. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't even say the fundamental rights. I would say some of before I say the they or the THE. Some of the fundamental rights are there enlisted, and there are other fundamental rights which are not enumerated there, but which are the purview of the citizen to whom those other reserved powers and rights are vested, and not in the government or in the Constitution itself or anyone else, for that matter of fact. Because it says that whenever the government wants to entertain any ideas about getting into the issues of our fundamental rights, they first have to come to us to seek our approval for them to get involved with anything that has to do with our fundamental rights. And they have to come to us by means of a plebiscite. They should not be coming to us like what they've been doing recently. That is, they say they go around and they have a little meeting with a couple of party members, and then they say, okay, that constitute consultation of the whole country. That is not true. A little meeting with a few of your party members doesn't constitute consultation with the whole country. Consultation with the whole country implies and means, according to the Constitution, when it speaks about having a referendum, is to afford the people to be able to say yes or no in regards to any particular fundamental issues or rights. And those powers are reserved unto the people, like I said before. But we have a system of governance where when the politicians they win the election and they go and get the authority vested in them or assented to them to become the government of the day or to become our caretaking of our governance for the day, because basically the people who will continue to refer to as the government of the day are not a separate entity from us. They are our employees. We hire them to do a job on behalf of the whole country, not a job for themselves. When they win the election, they don't own the country and its asset, and they run it according to how they feel like or what they feel like. There are guidelines. There's the Constitution. There are rules and regulations that govern their behavior or the way how they're supposed to administer. But the two mass parties that we have had since independence running our country has both indulged in the same kind of shenanigans, or chicanery. That is to say, they bastardize our system of governance and they disobey the precepts and principles of our Constitution. Some of them pretend that it doesn't even exist. And in some instances, they want to eviscerate major portions of it, or they want to change certain parts of it to facilitate them having absolute power and to have no accountability. Anyhow, I'll just go ahead and instead of continuing ranting on, I'll just go ahead and read Section 3 of the Constitution of Belize, where we start off from Section 3 all the way through Section 19. Of course, I'm not going to cover all that material tonight because it's just not feasible or adequate for me to be able to successfully do that in a short program of 90 minutes. I read Section 3. There's someone in the background. I'm not sure who. Oh, Mr. Morrison. Um, let me see if I can bring him on. Device. Okay. Yeah. Here it is. Uh, Good evening, Mr. Morrison. Oh, he's gone again. I'm sorry. At the stage. Okay.
I don't, I
Good
don't know
evening,
my.
Mr. Morrison.
Yeah,
Uh,
can you hear me? Good
yes, sir.
evening.
I can only see an avatar of you at the moment. I don't see you. You're not showing up. Uh, just an avatar.
Okay, let me see. I don't know what's going on with my. Let me go get out and come back in.
Has to do with your camera. Okay, go ahead, sir. I'll just hold the program for a couple of seconds. So for direct charts. Go ahead and go. You can. Oh, I need to. Okay. My dear esteemed listeners to our program, we had another one of our special guests, Mr. Morrison. Um, and yes, I can see him now. Okay, let me bring him. I was just killing a little bit of time to afford him the opportunity to. So
Okay.
now have you live, Mr. Morrison. Thank you
Yes,
very
sir.
much with your
Good
presence,
evening.
sir.
Good evening. Thank you very much for inviting me in.
Could you go ahead and just self-identify and for a few seconds, if you don't know, a few minutes? Yes, sir, Mr. Morrison. Oh, I think you're.
Good
Uh-huh.
evening.
Thank you.
Good evening, all. Gregory, and I'll be over here. And,
You're not coming off. You're not coming across very clear. Like
oh,
there's an echo in the background or somewhere or something. I don't know what it is. I could barely hear you, so I don't think most of the other, the program or the
can
people.
you hear me now?
Would you try again?
Good evening.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes,
I
sir.
don't know what's going on with my reception this evening. It seemed to have some problem, but we'll keep moving. I'll join in while you continue, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Um, what I was doing is I was improvising the program for tonight because our chairman is not available yet. And, I'm not sure if he's going to come in, but if he comes in, then I'll turn over the program to him. But uh, in the interest of time and timeliness, I thought that I needed was to launch the program. Where. Anyhow, let me not deal with the housekeeping issues on the live program. No, but I was just trying to communicate to you that uh, I was looking to present a part of the Constitution for tonight in terms of our fundamental rights, which are found in the Constitution of Belize under Section 3 all the way through Section 19 and Section 20, inclusive for judicial review. And I alluded to the fact that while our constitutional rights or fundamental and inalienable rights are listed under Section 3 through 19, those rights are not given to us by the Constitution, they're not given to us by the government, they're given to us by God, by us having been birthed. So the fact that we are born with our fundamental rights and in the preamble of our Constitution, it is commanded that the citations of our Constitution should enshrine those fundamental rights as
You
are
know,
delineated.
Mr. Brackett, I hear you say that, but I want to point out that the rights we enjoy and the rights we have are always given by man because it's always under man's law that governs us and establishes how we live and what
Uh,
grace is exercised against us. We could make that overall gracious statement about God, but the truth is we live under the law of man. That's the law that we live under. So when someone tells me these are rights granted under God? I said, yeah, but I shake my head and roll my eyes because it is
I don't have,
always.
Mr. Morrison, I don't have a problem with you having your own opinions, ideas,
Mm.
and conclusions. Each of us are entitled to that. So,
No, I understand. I'm
I,
just telling
I,
you where I differ. I'm just
yes, sir.
telling you where I differ.
I was just trying to present a point, and then we could discuss it or argue back and forth if you don't mind.
Okay, okay.
Just exactly, you're entitled to rebut as you're doing there just now. But I was just trying to present the point because what I was trying to do was to present
No,
a
I
constitutional
understand. I was
perspective,
just
my own
interjecting.
personal perspective. I was trying
Yeah,
to
yeah,
present a, because, like I said, even the Constitution tells us that each and every one of us are entitled to our own opinions, ideas, and conclusions, and the right to be able to propagate those opinions, ideas, and conclusions as well. That even the government is not supposed to tamper with that or abridge that right. That is constitutionally stipulated. I'm not saying anything that is different from what the Constitution is saying. We can discuss it because it is good for public benefit to hear different opinions so people can be elucidated on some of these things. I'm not trying to say that, because I say so, that's the way it has to be. I'm just saying right now in the part that I'm doing, the presentation I'm doing, I'm actually reading what the Constitution is saying. Okay? The issue of my personal opinion we can have that discussion, and I mean, we're entitled, like I said, by any one of us to have that,
yeah. But Mr.
regardless of what
Brackett,
opinions other people hold. We don't have to accede to other people's opinion. We're entitled to hold our own.
yeah, but Mr. Brackett, the
And
Constitution doesn't say God give us those rights, does it? Does it say these rights are given to us by God? It doesn't say that.
if you read the preamble, sir, that's the first thing that comes out of the Constitution. Of course, you have to remember now, the preamble to the Constitution of Belize come from Belizeans who are presumably, according to our acculturated status, we believe in the principle of a divine God and things like that. But I think we're going to get into a discussion before I even present the point. And I don't mind doing the discussion of after the fact. But I'm saying I need to present or read what I'm reading from the Constitution. And in regards to what you're stipulating, you're entitled to that as an opinion, and I have no problem with that. I don't think anybody who really believes it, or give any credence to our Constitution who believes that our Constitution has merits, because it's, as you said quite eloquently just now, it is written by man. God didn't come down from a mountain like what they say, well, with tablets of stone like that was given to Moses, and give us this Belizean constitution. So what you said and alluded to is 100% correct. But we're discussing it and debating the points or your point of concern before I'm even able to finish reading the thing that I was trying to read. And that's how I'm asking that you give me
I,
the privilege to
I
make the
intended I
statement,
intended
and then
to
we argue about it. Is
yeah,
that all right?
no, I intended to interject that in the conversation while you were reading it, Mr. Brackett. It wasn't by accident.
But that's not here. I'm reading what is here. so, so, so you're preempting, and you're cutting me at the knee before I even get a chance to present. But
I
anyhow,
know.
let's continue. Let's continue
Yeah,
because you know uh, the discussion is healthy, and it's good to have it because then people have difference of opinion. And I'm saying you and I might have a difference of opinion than many other people, and
hmm
they're also entitled to their opinions and ideas and conclusions. But just let me finish stipulate what I okay, okay, yeah. What my device was going crazy on me just now because I keep moving it and turning it and it keep going all over, and
okay.
sometimes the stuff disappears, so I gotta go research.
Ah,
But let me just turn it sideways quickly here again so I could read it, finish reading. Okay, so what I'm reading from is part two of the Constitution of Belize, protection of fundamental rights and freedoms. Fundamental rights and freedoms. Whereas every person in Belize is entitled to the fundamental rights and freedoms of the individual. That is to say, the right to whatever his race, place of origin, political opinions, color, creed, or sex, but subject to respect for the rights and freedoms of others and for the public interest to each and all of the following, namely, and it goes on to name, those is under paragraph A, for example, it says life, liberty, security of the person, and the protection of the law. That is to have the law protect that person's right. And also under B, it says freedom of conscience, of expansion, and of assembly. Expression, sorry, not expansion. Let me read that one over again. Paragraph B, freedom of conscience, of expression, and of assembly, and association. Protection for his family life, his personal property, privacy, I'm sorry, not property, privacy, the privacy of his home and other property, and recognition of his human dignity. And as in the case of paragraph D, which is the last paragraph in this section, protection from arbitrary deprivation of property. Uh, I want to skip over the rest of. There's one other big paragraph there, and because we want to discuss a little bit on the issue, I just want to skip that one and that last big paragraph and go to section 4, and it reads as follows: Section 4, subsection 1: a person shall not be deprived of his life intentionally, save in execution of the sentence of a court in respect of a criminal offense under any law of which he has been convicted. Now, before continuing on 4, I want to go back to 1 because 1 has quite a few stipulations there. It's not 1 actually. It's section 3, the first part that I read, and you asked a question just now, or alluded to a question just now in regards to the fundamental rights not being God given, because you're stipulating that for people who don't believe that there's a God, as compared to myself or many others, there are people who believe in God that belong to thousands of different variations of religion. Then there are people who don't believe in any God at all, who belong to other thousands of probably other different
Belief
uh,
system.
faith or beliefs. Yeah, belief system. Correct phraseology. So thank you. And therefore, as human beings, we're all, you know, uh, sentient entities. Okay, we're all sentient entities, despite our experience in life, our beliefs, and our conclusions. And it is because of people having difference in perspective or experience in life conclusions that we end up with these diversions of conflicts. People gravitate to each other according to their personal preferences, and then create their own societies. Small societies within the other larger societies itself, or small groups or organizations. You know, based on their own concept, beliefs, and or preferences, and that's okay too. But in regards to the issue of what the Constitution is saying and what I was trying to imply or allude to, is that, in fact, let me not allude personally in my own words. That's the reason why a lot of time when we're doing these things, I have a tendency to want to do the reading itself from the material. So, what the material says, for example, let me see right here quickly. Okay, I'll read it specific. Oops, oops, oops. Okay, B. I'll get to A. Okay. The Constitution of Belize says, whereas the people of Belize, as in paragraph A of the preamble to the Constitution, whereas the people of Belize affirm that the nation of Belize shall be founded upon principles which acknowledges the supremacy of God. I think that is where you have your first uh, point of um, how I'd call it, or how I'd say it, disapproval, or maybe um, you portray that center.
The word I use is
Let me leave it to you. Let me just stop talk and turn it over to you. As regards to that particular section of the Constitution, there, the first statement in the preamble. The preamble is what commands the Constitution and gives the Constitution its effect in law and expectation according to the society, which give the charge to the drafters of the Constitution what they wish to have in our Constitution. So let's go there. Please be at liberty to let's
okay.
do one point at a time. Let's not
Okay. Okay.
in public interest, right? Because you
Yeah.
know what you're talking about, I
Yeah.
know what I'm talking about, but we are doing this for the benefit of other people who are not maybe as lucid and as haven't explored these things as much as ourselves. There are many
Okay.
other people out there who are better expert than ourselves too. So you know,
Yeah. Of course. Of course. I'm no expert on the Constitution. I just ramble through it. I read it, and I understand what I understand about it. And there are many things I understand, and there are many things I do not understand. But what I wanted to say, from my perspective, the preamble of the Constitution is indeed the foundational ideas of how we set out of how we want to be governed as a country.
mhm,
That is my understanding of what the preamble is.
that's
But I
okay.
am quite firm in my belief that the preamble is not the Constitution at all. It represents the ideas of how we have established that we as citizens want to be governed.
On that point, that is one point, a very specific point, and I think you and I had discussed I think had a discussion on these particular points before. And for the public benefit, can we just elucidate a little bit more on it in terms of what you just stipulated and what I might return back and just let us have a small conversation for a few minutes on that point,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Um, it it is a misnomer to say that the preamble is not part of the Constitution.
I didn't
Would,
say it wasn't part.
wait. Okay, okay. Let me
No,
let me take it back then.
no, because you're
Please
you're trying to
clarify,
quote
clarify.
me.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
Please go ahead and clarify because I was about
No,
to
I did not say
intimate
it is
something
not.
different. Go ahead, please.
I did not say it's not part of the constitutional document. I'm saying it is not the Constitution. It is the ideas that we have conceived of, that we set out as to the idea of how
Okay,
we'd like to be organized and
okay.
governed.
That's the point. That's the point. The salient point. And let's stay with it. There cannot be a constitution without a preamble. Is that a valid or an acceptable premise? Did you get what I was intimating there, or can I restate it again for clarity?
If you could have a constitution without a preamble.
Yes,
But I
sir.
think, yeah,
That's
I
what I
think
said. Please, please go ahead. I don't know if you're just cutting out and
if you
cutting
could
in,
have a
or
constitution without a preamble. But I believe a preamble brings into large focus the ideas that you envision and you inspired and hope to emblemish in the ideas of the Constitution. So it is saying these are the things, these are who we are, and these are the things we aspire for. But it is not the Constitution.
okay. Let's back up a little bit then, right? Quickly. A constitution is a document that has the preamble and a bunch of citations that elucidates the expectations and the directives and the enshrinement of the preamble in an enumerated form, drafted form for legal references in terms of constitutional uh, citations in regards to specific sections. And in the Constitution, it has the enumerated parts of the preamble. It has the table of contents and all the different sections and subsections and paragraphs and parts of what, in your parlance, would be considered as being the Constitution. The Constitution is the title to our overall package It is not an item unto itself, separate and apart from its preamble. It is just enumerated, expanded, the expanded basis on which the legal system can then make references and relate to each and every one of the desired parts that the preamble at the end of it says, we expect and hope that these matters would be enshrined in our system of governance. In a book, you have the table of contents, you have a like a preface to the book, which is you would say comparable to what we call the preamble, that gives you an overview of what the book might be about. But to say that the book is a book without its preface or its table of contents, then it's a laughable book because all these bits and pieces form a part of that particular book. As regards to the Constitution is not just the citations themselves.
Mr. Brackett, there are
What?
many books without a preface. It is difficult to have a book without a table of contents, and I consider the preamble or preface on our Constitution. It is the aspiration of what we hope to achieve as a people. But nowhere is it the laws of how we are governed, setting out the rights of individuals and our responsibility, and the limitation of the rights of the state.
Without the preamble, Mr. Morrison, without the preamble which directs the constitutional draft person to draft according to the preamble,
I
uh,
don't think the
I don't know how
preamble.
else to
I don't
explain it.
think the
Well,
preamble. I
say,
don't
no,
think the
I'm
preamble
trying, but
sets out.
maybe I'm not using the correct terms or phrase or
Well,
word. So there might be something missing in my way of expressing or trying to communicate, no?
yeah.
That particular thought.
Well, see, I don't think the preamble limits or give direction other than to say these are the aspiration of us as a people. And yeah, you could encode some of those things in law, in what the rights are, in what in what the responsibility are, in what the limitation of government will be on the individual and on the citizens, but it does not allow the preamble to create law or to dictate the law. And the preamble is not the law of our government and of our country. It is our aspiration. We believe in a creator. That is fine. We
Uh,
cannot appoint a God. We cannot appoint a religion. We cannot appoint um, which days we should be going to church and and which church we should be going to. But we do as a people.
have you in the Constitution ever saw where any of those things that you just enumerated there just now exist? It's a red herring.
No, 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 no. But no, no. The red
We're talking
herring
about the
is that
Constitution. If
the
you
red
study the
herring.
Constitution, you know, it's
The,
extraneous. Not that it's not
the,
valid as a point of explanation or contention, no. But
yeah,
if it's not
it's not
there,
a red herring. It's not a red herring
yes, but
because the
actually
simple.
we are going outside of the bounds of the Constitution as a part of, we're not staying within the limits of discussing what the subject matter is. 'Cause you're alluding to the fact that, which is a fact, and as I retorted back to you, that you're correct, but you have never seen any of those particular things in the Constitution itself. Nor would I see it there because they are not there. So why are we entertaining our
No,
time
no, no. Because I am saying
extraneous things?
my
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please.
no, my full statement, and you don't have to agree with it because I know you don't. But my full statement and my full point of presentation on this issue is that the Constitution is the laws that govern us, that sets our rights as individuals, that limits the infliction of government imposition on us as citizens, and whatever is written in the preamble,
You're gone. You're gone. I can't hear you.
whatever is
Okay.
written in the preamble is just the ideas that we would like to consider and the things that motivate us, but it does not
Okay.
anyway represent the laws that governs us beyond the extent that they're also part of defined specific mention.
Mr. Morrison, can I say something, sir, in regards to maybe how I may be able to take another shot at communicating what I'm trying to say, maybe because I didn't say it
I
correctly,
don't
or
think I
maybe
have any missing point.
uh,
I don't think I missed anything
give
that
me a
you're
shot. Give
saying,
me a shot.
Mr. Brackett.
Yes, but please give me a shot. There's somebody else coming on. I'm not sure if it's. Oh, it's good. He can bring himself in. Okay.
Okay.
As regards to the Constitution itself, when we are speaking about the Constitution of Belize, we are speaking about a document that has all the parts, and each and every one of those parts. For example, the citations. You have part one, and you have some citations on the part one. You have part two, some citations on the part two, part three, and so on and so forth until you get to part 12, 13, whatever. And each of those parts of the Constitution deal with various sections and specific issues as a heading. Okay. Now that is the outcome of the drafting of the preamble. Okay. That is when you give the draftsman the authority that is vested in the preamble and the power of creating and elucidating or expanding in details for citation purposes. Because when you go to court, you can't say, okay, well, you go to court without citations. You have to cite the specific parts, sections, subsections if need be, and paragraphs and whatever. That is the structural way of how you put together a constitution and how the constitution is laid out for legal processes in terms of the Supreme Court and the legal system in terms of recognizing the sections and subsections that are violated and the consequences that will follow. But all of that comes out of the preamble, sir. The preamble is what comes from.
No. You have no argument. You have no argument from me as to the Constitution and the
Yes,
subsection and the
but
grafting of
but
it.
but
But
to say.
the
I'm sorry.
only
I'm sorry.
disagreement
Let me shut up for a little while. Go ahead,
the
sir.
only disagreement is the preamble is not the Constitution. That's all. That's all. That's
It is
all.
not the
It
Constitution.
is
It is
the
part
is
of the
the,
Constitution, sir.
it is
The Constitution is a whole structure. Like you are saying, for
part of
we
the
body, like for
Constitution.
we, you wouldn't say for we hand, they're not part of our body. Our hand is part of our body. Our body.
It's not the same thing, Mister.
That's
We
why
could
I'm
have
saying to you,
Mister
it is
Brackett,
the same
Mister
perspective.
Brackett,
The Constitution is the whole body.
Mr. Brackett. We could have a constitution without having a
There's a lot of
preamble.
people we have on body we lack of a hand. So I wouldn't disagree with you. I'll be more than happy to accept your premise in that regard.
Let's welcome Mr. Greg Brackett.
Uh, Good evening, Greg. Mr. Greg Brackett is the chairman for the night, and so we were just improvising, and so I think I need to turn the show over to Mr. Brackett. But we could have another discussion further on that, on those. Maybe I'm not using the correct word to get my point across, but at
No,
the end of the
your
day,
point is well taken. You and I have had this discussion before, and
yes. But I think we got hung up on the part about where the Constitution itself, in the beginning of the preamble, where it says about we believe that our system of governance should recognize God, and that is because it was God, it was people who came from a Christian background that came together and decided those terms and
yeah,
terminology
yeah,
in terms of, but
exactly, exactly.
they were not
What
agnostic. If they, let's say if there was some agnostic people there, at the time, maybe they would have chastised the other people then for going all over board from a Christian perspective.
my point we got stuck on that point, but
Uh-huh.
my main point was to say that we could have a constitution and we could have the laws and we could have the rights that we have because we as people, as individuals, contracted to give each other those sovereign rights that we believe we're all entitled to.
No, sorry,
It is
that
not, it
that
is
is what
not, Mr.
that's what
Brackett,
I
it
started
is
out the
not,
conversation with. That's what I was attempting to
Mr. Brackett, it's not God that ordains any of those rights. Because if it is
I'm just
God that
whether it's
ordained
God,
it,
Mr. Morrison, whether it's God or some other entity, or maybe there was no entity, it's just by osmosis happened to have on us. I'm saying to you that the premise that was articulated there is that wherever we got those things from, it was not the government that has the power, the authority to authorize fundamental rights to us. We
it
are
is the
born with
government.
those.
It is the
Premise.
government, Mr. Brackett,
No,
because it is the
the
government that
government,
takes it.
sorry, wait, Mr. Morrison.
No, no,
The government is empowered by us for them to look after the security and the guarantee and the enshrinement of our constitutional rights that they themselves have no authority to violate. They are inviolable, is the term.
I, I, I,
Good,
I,
good
I
night,
agree they're
gentlemen.
inalienable.
So let,
I
let, let,
agree they're inalienable.
we'll have this conversation
Good,
further because it's a big conversation and it will take long and I need to
No,
temporarily
no,
change.
no, no,
I
no.
need to
Look,
yield.
Mr.
I need
I'm
to yield
sure
to the
Mr.
chairman.
Brackett doesn't mind. I'm sure Mr. Brackett doesn't mind because this is
good
important.
night,
He
gentlemen.
might have his own subject for the night to say, and I don't want to.
Okay.
We could have this. As a matter of fact, you know what? Why don't I give you Friday, Mr. Morrison, and then if you want, use Friday as seriously,
Okay.
you chair Friday and you chair, you know, that
Okay.
particular discussion the way you want it to go.
Yeah. Yeah. No
I don't have a
problem.
problem with that. Okay, so let me yield, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much
Good
for
night, gentlemen.
presence, sir. You back.
Good night, gentlemen. It's
Good
always
night.
a pleasure sitting with you guys.
Good
I
night, sir.
want to say good night to you people at home and abroad. Thanking you for tuning in to this our 434th edition of Belizean Affair on a Monday night. Gentlemen, I was sitting in the back there listening to your conversation. What a great topic you guys want to discuss law and morality. That is what you guys are speaking about, and what is our God given right and what is our fundamental right. And as for what you were saying, Mr. Morrison, I want to say this. The preamble of the Constitution of Belize sets out the values and the guiding principles of the nation. It speaks about the supremacy of God, human dignity and equality, freedom, justice, and the rule of law. That is what it does. But when my good cousin talk about God-given rights, we must understand that even in biblical terminology, we had laws which was the Ten Commandments, which is what you call moral law. And to tell the truth, our Constitution was adopted from the Ten Commandments. That is how we have those fundamental rights. So, as I was stating, gentlemen, the topic you guys were speaking about is law and morality. The government does not give us our rights. The government protects our rights. That is what I have to say on that. Mr. Morrison, I go to you.
I agree that the Constitution enshrine the limitation of government imposition on our rights. The point of the Constitution is that any rights that we as human have could only be given by man and could only be taken away by man. There's not a God here that's granting any rights. We have agreed through contract as a people and as a society and as a country to have these basic and fundamental rights given to each individual based on their citizenship and based on their humanity. It is not a God out there that's giving us these rights. It is a contractual agreement that we could aspire it and say these rights cannot be taken away from us because we are all entitled to it. We were all granted these rights by a being or a superior being, but that doesn't really exist. It may make us feel good to say that. It may make us feel good to say that, but it does not exist. It cannot exist in the structure of human physical pathological society. So all the rights we have are granted to us by man, are taken away from us by man. There's no God coming and granting anything and striking anyone for doing anything wrong. So we have to be careful and be fully understanding of what it is and how we play with these type of concepts of God granting. Because when we do that, we kind of fail many people that may not have the concept of God.
Miss,
What about the
Miss,
poor people in the Amazon and in the areas that have never met and come to an understanding? You just walk up to them and
Mr.
tell them,
Mr.
you have.
Morrison,
Let me
Wait,
finish, sir. Let me finish. You just
Mr.
walk up to them and tell them,
One statement, sir. Do you think that those people in the Amazon or any other part of the world doesn't have their own spiritualities or their own concepts
no, 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 no,
no,
no,
I
no,
mean,
no. I'm saying,
that's
hold
that's
on,
what they are.
hold on, Mr. Brackett.
I'm saying
Let,
I agree they have, and that's exactly the point. So, our imposition of a God that we have conceived us to impose upon them, of granting them certain rights, no, we contractually as a society have said that these things, and if we looked at constitution and we go back to the first British laws that granted, I can't remember, Magna Carta, that granted rights and took them away from the king and say that these rights are the sovereign rights of the citizens. If we look at that, then we
The Magna
understand.
Carta,
hold
which
on, Mr.
is a
Brackett. Let
quotation,
him
is
finish.
just a quoting of the same
Let him
principle.
finish,
then
Mr.
then we
Brackett.
under, then we
Sorry.
understand the fundamental arrangement of how these rights and how constitution came about. And yes, they wanted to say the king cannot take your life unless you have done something wrong. And yes, under Belize they cannot deprive you of your freedom unless you have done something. But these are all men impositions. So I'll yield back to you and continue.
Mr. Morrison, what you are speaking about was in the Bible by the Ten Commandments. As I said before, what you guys are speaking about is law and morality. And I want to show you, I want to state in this form, Belizeans need to understand this clearly. Our rights are not gifts from politicians. They are rooted in both moral truth and protected by law. The principles behind our freedom did not start with government. Long before politics, the Ten Commandments laid down the foundation for justice. Don't kill, don't steal, don't lie, respect family, and treat others fairly. These are not suggestions. They are base, they are basis of any functioning society. Now look at the Constitution of Belize. It guarantees the right to life, protection of property, equality before the law, and respect for human dignity. That is not a coincidence. It is proof that our legal system reflects deeper moral truth. So let's fact check the narrative. Government does not create your rights. Government is supposed to protect your rights. That is what I have to say, and that I go to you, Mr. Brackett.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much again, Mr. Morrison, for raising the point, as part of the discussion for the night. Um, and I would like to interject that there are, okay, for example, there are people who believe in no God at all, They are not. They call themselves agnostics. Okay. Then there are other people who believe in different variations of different types of God, right? Whether that God is Buddha, whether that God is from the Hindu religion, or whether that God is from Timbuktu, or whether that God is from some kind of what the white people used to call Obia, you know, um, evil, even Satan himself
Spirit,
was a divine entity. I mean, yeah, but
spiritualism.
let's not go there then, because I think that's part of the problem. Some people don't believe in the Bible itself because long before the Bible, there were other belief systems. There
Yes,
were other,
yes.
wait, and so there's a there's a difference there. And when people sort of conflate or mix these things up, that's where the headbutting starts, right? Because people are not willing to understand or recognize, or maybe they don't know, for a matter of fact, that long before Christianity as a religion came about, there was Judaism, and long before Judaism, there were other. I mean, okay. Let me be specific here for those who are Christian. When the Bible says that Cain killed his brother and he left that land, right? Presumably that was the Garden of Eden where they were living with their parents. Okay, but they left that land and they went to the other land, and Cain found a wife and married into the daughters of whatever. Those other people had their own religions back then too. Okay, the Bible only gives account of the Judeo-Christian philosophy and concept of religion. But long before the Judeo-Christian concept came about, there were many other religions. Thousands of different religions, as we now know today, exist,
That
and they were all
might be,
conflict.
Mr. Brackett, that might be true, but regardless of whatever religion, the laws were based on morality. You have law, you have morality. Everything was moral before man created civil liberties. If you go back to the Ten Commandments, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal. This is what paves the way for our present time civil liberties via our Constitution. So
Mr. Mr.
it's not
Mr.
that laws
Brackett,
haven't been about.
you could have morality without religion. Religion is not necessary to have moral and legal and righteous behavior. You do not need religion. Religion structure it and gives it a sort of impetus that you could rally around in terms of looking to an individual or individuals as demanding or enshrining that we act in these way, and who we should honor. But you could have moral behavior and moral action without someone being a religious character in any way.
Can I say that that can happen? What you just described, Mr. Morrison, can't happen.
It cannot.
No,
You
sir, it
can't have
cannot.
morality without you can't have morality without religion. Of course you
Religion,
can.
religion is the basis on which morality is measured, and morality is the basis on which
No, it's
religion is
not.
measured.
No,
No, it's
no,
not.
no, no,
I'm
no,
No,
talking
it's not.
philosophy right now, okay? I'm talking
No,
no.
it's
philosophy.
not.
You're
Let
wrong.
me correct you on that. Morality comes from inside one's own body. You know what is morally right and you know what is morally wrong.
Not
And that is
everyone
how
does.
laws are created.
I
No,
think
not
I think
everyone knows.
I
Not
think
everyone.
you gentlemen are conflicting
No,
morality with ethics. They are two
no, no,
different
no, no,
things.
no. I'm not
Morality
conflicting
and ethics
morality
are
with
two different
ethics.
things. Okay,
I'm
so
not conflicting
let's not
morality with
conflate
ethics.
them or mix them up.
I'm
Mr.
not
Brackett,
conflicting them.
let me ask you a question, gentlemen. If you are in a concert or you are in the public, would you take out your private and pee in front of anyone? You will not, because you know it is morally wrong. That is how our laws are created. And then they created law to protect from exactly what I am saying. Indecent exposure.
And I'm not
We are
arguing that.
talking
I'm not
about
arguing that.
law and morality.
Yeah, I'm
Law
not.
comes from morality.
No, I'm not arguing that. I'm not saying no to that. I'm not saying that morality. I'm saying religion. You could have morality and proper and right. You don't have to be religious to know it is wrong to steal. You don't have to be religious to know that it is wrong to kill. As long as you have conscience and understanding, you know it is wrong to lie.
It
You know
comes
that
from
it is.
within, Mr. Morrison, as
Uh,
I said.
M- Mr. Chairman, may I?
You,
May I
yes,
weigh in?
1 second, Mr.
Oh, go
Brackett.
ahead. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Mr. Morrison, do you know what we call the sixth sense?
Yes, and actually they agree
That
that
is
there may be
based on
23.
it is based on morality. You want to go rob someone. You walk up and down, you pace around, you follow them and all that, while in the back of your head it's telling you, you know, it's morally wrong. But you still want to go do it anyway. And when you does, you know what happened? You just legally broke a law. That is why I said law and morality. Let me hear you, Mr. Brackett.
Okay. Just a while ago, or a little earlier in the conversation, we came up with this idea that all the way to the Amazon and many other places where people are not as civilized as we modern society think we are, and we would probably go and judge those people on the basis of them being scantily clad or clothed, right? And we would say, according to our societal norms or societal construct, that those people are immoral for walking around half naked. Because we wouldn't do that, like Greg said earlier. We take out our private and go pee on the middle of the street or whatever or wherever. Whereas that's what those people do in their societies. And we would classify those people as being vain or maybe immoral or unethical or antisocial, or we'd use all kind of man-made constructs or thoughts or concepts or expression to
That
demean them or denigrate them. When in
that
fact,
is
according to
different,
their
Mr.
societal
Brackett.
norms, no. I'm trying to point out something that needs to be pointed out here on our conversation, because we are measuring according to our own societal construct. Wherever you have human beings doesn't mean that all human beings have the same societal standards. In some
Values.
societies, people drink and then drunk and then those carry on or whatever. In other societies, uh, when you drink too much to the point that you become inebriated and you're peeing on yourself or doing all kind of stuff, no, people look at that negatively.
But
Can I
Mr. Brackett,
go ahead?
you are speaking about the same thing. Educated and uneducated, civilized and uncivilized. It all comes to the same thing. And
But the point,
uncivilized
but don't
people,
drift away from it. The point is, are they entitled to constitutional guarantees and God-given rights? That's where this breaks down. That's where this breaks down. It's
It's,
what are they entitled to if they don't
it
have
depends.
any of these
It depends on
constructs.
go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was about to say
If
the
they
same
don't have
thing.
any of these constructs that we take for granted or normal exercise or understanding under our behavior.
Because of different norms that we accept.
But that
People
doesn't
accept
change.
different norms.
That doesn't change the Constitution and what they are entitled and their understanding of
Mr.
those things,
Morrison,
Mr. Brackett.
Mr.
that
Morrison, Mr. Morrison,
Mr.
wait,
Morrison,
wait,
that's an
Mr. Brackett, Mr.
excellent
Brackett.
point, and I want to state it this way. If we talk about people in rainforest, people that have not been exposed to our type of standards, of course they are still protected by a constitution, because then we are speaking about individuals who we deem as uncivilized. So then we have to get them civilized.
But
Isn't that how the world came to where it's at?
Well, that's the problem, right? Because who's civilizing who? Your understanding now is to build a car and destroy the environment, right? To burn coal and destroy the environment. And these people live in a way that preserve and protect the environment. So I don't view those people as uncivilized. I view them at a different level of how they function within the society.
Okay, but can we get back to the point that kind of created the discussion? That is to say, when I made reference and I read from the preamble and the Constitution about we believe that our society should recognize God as being supreme. The people that were talking or putting that stuff together at that time were people who believe that there's a God, first and foremost, which is why they were recognizing that particular God. Now, there are many other gods all over the place for different religions, different entities, but the bottom line is that as human beings, we have to remember that the law of the law of okay, when we are born with a certain let's not call it God-given rights. Then we are born with certain rights. Let's leave out the God part of it to avoid the bottom line. We are born with certain rights, and we call them, or we use the term or the word inalienable rights, which comes with birth. You own
Yes,
those, and you come with those from the time you was born.
yes.
No law authorized those or blessed you with those because they gave you a birth paper. That birth paper certified that you have the right to those.
Try and go to some other country and see if those laws are supported and respected. If
Sir,
you if,
sir,
no 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 no
we're
no
talking
no
about the
no
Constitution of Belize
no, but we have to
with the
understand,
stay.
if they're God given, if they're inalienable, then we have to understand. Then it's part of your being.
Fundamental rights.
No, it's part of your being. then
Exactly.
then wherever you go,
By
wherever
being
you
born, you're
stand,
qualified to exercise and have those
those
rights.
rights would stand. But that
Mhm.
is not true. That's the point.
That's why we have the universal human rights international laws.
Charter. Yeah, I understand. I
Gen-
understand. I understand.
Gentlemen, what the preamble does, right? It influences laws, but it does not override it. It's a guide that they use in the court to settle cases. It influences, but it does not override it.
I don't know what
It
it
is
is.
the
I
basis
don't know
on which
what
our
it is in
laws,
court.
it is
I
the
don't
basis
know.
on which our citations stands. The preamble is the basis on which the citation stands. Without the preamble, you know, it's just another something that somebody else cooked up, like you said earlier. The problem is that some people don't believe in God because they don't want to be held accountable to a godly or a
Oh,
religious
come on, stop that,
entity or
Mr.
whatever.
Brackett.
So let's leave that aside. Let's put that aside. The bottom line is that in even if you were to take out the first statement in the preamble and throw it out, the whole rest of the preamble still stands. That is to say,
No, nobody. I'm
sorry,
not dismissing the preamble, and I'm not saying. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
but you
that.
have to understand what is the power and the authority that is vested in the Constitution that derives or comes from the preamble. The preamble directs the constitutional precepts and sections and subsections, and it directs them to bring into existence and enshrine into existence what is stated and stipulated and put into the preamble. The preamble is what the fathers of the nations they get together and decide is the basis of their society. Then they get just people, legal
It's not
just
the
man.
basis, but the concept of their society. The concept. The
So
concept.
there's no difference there. There's no
No,
difference
well,
in what you
no,
put and
no, because
what I
the
was saying.
basis means that's.
There was no
I think
difference.
there's a big difference in
There's no
basis
no 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 no
and
no 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 no
concept.
no no. I told you before, and I'm going to repeat it again.
Mr.
Without a
Morrison,
preamble, Without a preamble, there will be no, and there shouldn't be, or couldn't be, or there shouldn't be a constitution, because the preamble is the directive to the creation of what you call the citations of the constitution, which
And
is
I'm
why
not I'm not arguing that. I'm not
the preamble and the citations are part of the same constitution. They support each other. They are part of each other. They are the one and the
I'm
same
not
thing.
arguing. I'm not arguing that it's not good to
You
have
cannot dispense.
a
You cannot
preamble.
dispense with the preamble and pretend that there's the validity
Mr. Brackett, we
of our
could wipe
constitution.
out our preamble and still have our constitution, because when you go to court,
Sir, I'm trying to get into your head and try to explain to you that you to try to divide these two things as being, like having no influence or impact on each other, and I'm telling you
no,
that one
that's
derives
not
from the
at
other.
all. That's not at all. I agree
One is
that the
birthed from
preamble.
the other.
I tell you, the
The
preamble
Constitution
is
is
the
birthed from the
concept.
preamble, and you to try to separate them as if they have nothing to do with each other. And I'm trying to tell you
No,
that's a
sir. I'm
misnomer.
telling you. I told you at the very start. The preamble is the aspiration and the concept and the principles on which we
There,
build our constitution.
there are
That is
people who,
correct, Mr. Morrison. It
Mr.
sets
Morrison,
out the
Mr.
foundation.
Morrison, didn't you say that the preamble is not the Constitution or part of the
Yes, I
Constitution?
said the preamble is
Okay,
not the
so
It
constitution.
so then
says,
so then,
The
Greg,
gentlemen, gentlemen,
Greg, you got
please.
yourself trapped. You got yourself trapped just now by agreeing with the
No,
man
no, no,
on
no. I
something that he
told
has
you.
said that
There,
was exactly the opposite of what you're
there is
trying to
no
No,
argue.
no,
trap
no,
there,
no. I have
Mr.
not changed my
Morrison.
position. Let me
Mr.
finish that.
Morrison,
No,
let
no,
me
because
say this.
he's putting words in my mouth. Let me clear this
Okay,
up.
go ahead,
Let
please,
me
please.
say this to both of you because
Make the man say it in a word first, the Greg. Give
no,
the man a
let
chance
me
to make.
say this because what you guys going about is still what I said, land morality. The
Yeah,
preamble
yeah.
of the
No, no,
Constitution of
that's.
Belize,
I'm not arguing that.
wait,
I'm not arguing that. I'm not
listen to
arguing that.
me though. The preamble of the Constitution of Belize is not just some fancy words. It lays down the foundation of this nation, the supremacy of God, human dignity, freedom, and justice that is the spirit of belief. That's what it does, okay?
Exactly. Exactly. I'm not, and I will never argue that, and I agree fully with that. My only point is that the preamble is the precept and the aspiration of the in of the architects of the Constitution and
You
of the
are correct,
people,
Mr. Morrison. It
and
is built from that.
it is not the Constitution. You could have no, you could have citing of the laws from in the of the laws that goes to the preamble, but you cannot impose what is in the preamble as part of the Constitution that governs us, because
Uh,
they're separate. They're separate.
It is separate, Mr. Morrison. It is used to influence laws as the
uh,
basic
Mr. Chairman,
foundation,
Yes,
but
um,
sir.
it
uh,
cannot
Yes,
override laws,
Mr. Chairman, I
okay?
wait.
that's
I
correct.
put my
That's
finger
correct.
on the wait for a long time to get to interact or interject. No, please give me a chance, sir. Whereas I'm reading the preamble of Belize now, okay. Let me say where the information is coming from. The preamble of Belize. Whereas the people of Belize, in that instant, it wasn't all the people of Belize that was making this statement, okay. Let's
Of course, it was less
keep
than
that in
one
mind.
percent.
Yeah, yeah. It's a bunch of our elites who were given the
Mm-hmm.
privilege to get together and set
Yeah,
up
yeah,
set up a preamble.
exactly,
Wait,
exactly.
wait, let me finish the man. Set up a preamble, aspirational as you put it, and which it actually is, of what is it that they want the legal draftsman to draft into as parts of, as sections of, as subsections of, as paragraphs of, and whatever else not of the citations to our constitution. It is the directive that empowers and gives credence and credibility, and on which the citations of the constitution makes reference to, from which they got their powers.
It
Okay,
is the foundation, Mr. Brackett.
exactly. But
and
let
which
me
the Constitution was written in. It can influence laws, but it cannot override it. That is what the scholars wrote
paragraph
from. That
paragraph
is
A.
what the rights came from.
Paragraph A says, whereas the people of Belize, paragraph A, affirms that the nation of Belize shall be founded upon principles which acknowledges the supremacy of God,
Isn't that morality? We are speaking about
faith
law
in,
and
faith in,
morality.
faith in human rights and fundamental freedoms, the position of the family in a society of free men and free institutions, the dignity of the human person, and the equal and inalienable rights with which all members of the human family are endowed by their creator. There will be a problem there talking about a creator, as well as the first statement talking about a God. Because there are people that don't believe in a creator, they don't believe in a God the way the Christian minded people who were putting this document together believe. But does that mean then that you don't believe in the Constitution itself? You don't believe in the preamble? Because you have an objection to the Christian minded people that put this stuff together. That means that the whole Constitution must be suspect then?
I,
If don't
I
tell you
think
you
Miss,
are
I
entitled to
think
your religion,
I
Miss,
think
you
Mr.
have a different.
Brackett,
Uh-huh.
I think Mr. Brackett, you're speaking out of context. Take God completely away from it.
That's what I just
What
said,
is
sir. What
what
is
is
what is what is
morality?
what is out of context by saying what I just you didn't repeat what I just said.
What
If
is
you take out the
morality? No, no. Let's
we're
put
not
God
talking
out
about
of it
morality, sir. We are
because
talking about the Constitution.
you are saying that
We're not talking
some
about
people
morality.
don't believe in God and some people do. Let's put
What
God
does that have to
aside.
do? What
What is morality?
that is what I just said just now, Mr. Chairman. If we take out the first statement that Mr. Morrison objected to earlier, and the reason why is because of what I'm saying, there are people who don't believe in a God. So why they're disturbed about us having referring to a God in our constitution as being a supreme entity that we recognize as Christians. That's what Christians do. But
Mr. Brackett,
the fact that some people who are not Christians do not abide by the Christian's perspective or philosophy, what you can then say is that the Constitution is a Christian oriented document. And because some people are not Christians, they then do not or would not command that or acknowledge that Constitution, to be to have the force of divinity or law or morality or ethics or social standings or whatever else we want to classify or put under it. The bottom
Mr.
line is that
Brackett,
you cannot conflate these
You
things and expect not to have an
you
argument.
are repeating yourself,
you have
sir.
a totally different argument
You
coming.
repeating yourself. Leave Christian, leave faith out of it.
That was my
What
last
is
statement.
moral? What is moral is dignity. And everybody that is educated
Mr.
know
Chairman,
what morality
Mr.
is.
Chairman, are you implying that only Christians know what morality is?
I don't imply, I'm not implying nothing
Okay,
about Christian.
you have thousands of different religions who, many of them are more moral than some Christians.
Let me say this to you, okay? You can go to a million, etc. Morality lies within one's own mind, which is
Exactly,
dignity. You
exactly.
don't have to go to church to know that, what is right from what is wrong. Laws were made because people violate morality. So they had to make laws to make sure you are keeping check. That's why
Mr.
I keep
Chairman,
saying
Mr. Chairman,
you are speaking about law and morality. And you
morality,
here
morality is a
repeating it.
human construct, sir. Morality is a human construct,
And don't
So
you
is religion and so is God.
and not all human beings are Christians, and not all Christians are of the
you
same
come back with the
denomination.
same thing.
Because
All humans
we need
know
to
what,
accept the fact that they're different.
but
That is the
why
reason for
are you putting out there on Christians and faith? All human beings know they have a moral obligation
which is why I
to
brought up
dignity.
the point about your morality is not the same morality as the morality of the people in the Amazon who dress and walk around half naked. You can't judge them on the basis of your
Who
morality.
is judging them, Mr. Brackett?
I'm saying to you, we need to acknowledge the fact that there's other things that is superior to our personal construct. And we need to accept a wider perspective of human
But
construct being
how
much more
did
than
that
just our
came
own.
about? How does the people in the Amazon came about to the belief
Because they are moral
constitution?
people as well. They're not immoral for dressing half naked. That's their societal norms, is my point.
But you are repeating exactly what I said. I just mentioned to you civilized and uncivilized.
Sir,
We are speaking
what some
about
people consider
people
to be,
that are tribal people
Mr.
where
Chairman,
educated people have never put foot,
it,
but
it,
they have their own standards. We became
but,
civilized
but are they
because
immoral,
we were
Mr.
taught.
Chairman? Are those people immoral? Those people are not immoral for being, because they have their own standard of morality. You can't brush them aside. Even among ourselves here in our modern society, there's a lot of different variations
I
of.
think, sir, you are well speaking out of context. It's not making sense to
So
me.
it's one thing for you to say I'm speaking out of context. It's another thing to recognize what is it I'm talking about in the first place.
I recognize what you are speaking about, but it don't make sense.
Then the
And
two
it
statements,
cannot make sense.
you cannot have the two statements that you're making as being compatible. One or the other is correct.
Do you want a baby who creeps before he walks? Know what we know? You are speaking about people in the Amazon who has never set foot in modernization. So of course they have their
Sir,
own faith, they
let me
have their own moral obligation.
Mr. Chairman, give me an opportunity to explain to you in a different way.
No,
You can, well,
I
okay,
refuse that.
even if you refuse, I'm entitled to my own opinion, am I not? Conflating ethics and morality is the creation of a long-standing argument. Ethics come from a societal standard. Morality is an internally bred and born concept. As a human being, we think and act differently than other beings, or other entities, or other animals, or other insects, or other things. But that doesn't mean that those things doesn't have life, just as we have life. We are just at a different station in terms of knowledge acquisition and the making use of those particular acquisition of knowledge. We cannot conflate societal norms and call them morality. That morality is a single word, but it's applicable to all human beings.
Let me ask you a question that will come right back to you. Is it morally wrong for President Trump to invade Iran?
I don't want.
You're not going to answer it. I figure you would not. Mr. Morrison, I go to you.
The reason why I wouldn't answer that is because, in the first place, make a shut up, my mouth. I was about to say something out of the way. Make a shut up. I yield back,
I
sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. You know,
Oh, man.
when I broached this question about the Constitution and what was the entitlement of individuals and who created these entitlements, I was trying to emphasize not so much to remove the supremacy of an idea of a God, but to try and bring into recognition that the rights we have is what we as a just society envision and aspirationally take on, that we as individuals are entitled to, and that our government should not breach those for us as individuals. So that idea still stands. It still stands, whether you view it from an an inalienable right, whether you believe it as being given to you by a God, if you want to hold that concept. But the idea is that we must make room wherever we deal with laws and society for just the human action, because not everybody have that concept of a God. Not everybody believe that that because there's so many things that have been done wrong in the past. If we look at societies in the past, it was far more undemocratic, more feudal, and more deprivative and harder on human beings than we are today. We have developed concept of democracy. We have developed concept of individual rights. We have developed concept of justice and freedom and limitation of what what a master can do to you, what a king can do to you, what a leader can do to you, what a these are all new concepts that human has taken on as we become more conscious
Correct,
and more
correct.
realization of the individual human being right to 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 take on to and unto himself certain individual rights. I mean, 200 years ago, the concept did not exist for these individual rights.
Mr. Morrison, based on what you are saying, sir, as I have said before, right, it has to do with law and morality. Let me put it to you this way, right? The United States, right, is the one who created international law.
No,
They
Mr.
represented
Chairman, Mr.
along
Chairman,
with
that is not
other
correct.
bodies,
Mr.
along
Chairman,
with other bodies, Mr.
Mr.
Brackett.
Chairman, the United States did not create international law. It existed long, thousands of years before the United States was even thought about us becoming a country.
Let
Okay,
me
so please
finish, Mr. Brackett.
don't take it in that direction.
Let me finish, Mr. Brackett,
I yield, sir.
because
I yield.
international law came about after World War II, 1948.
No, sir.
Okay? I want to say this, right? The United States and its ally, right, are influencers. We have the ICJ, we have the ICC, etc. Right? How is it then you will break international law because when one of your NATO countries commit genocide and the other countries or partners deem it as genocide and want to take them to the court, you want to sanction the court. And you know they have violated international law, and not only that, you know it's morally wrong. You see what I'm saying, Mr. Morrison? It ties
I
into
understand
one.
fully. I understand fully. I understand fully. And what that says to me that laws are very subjective in terms of its application, in terms of who are subjugated to the laws. Some people see themselves as, for whatever reason, being outside of the subjugation of the laws, even the laws they create.
That is
And
correct, Mr. Morrison.
The law of Belize is different from the law of other countries. Okay,
Mr.
so how can we
Stop that. Stop that.
how
Stop
can
that.
we take the discussion that we are having right here
No,
about?
Mr. Brackett, stop that.
Let me
All the
finish.
laws are the
The
same.
laws
All the laws are the same.
they are
The
not, sir.
principles,
They are
Belize
not. They
Constitution
are
is
not.
no different. The Belize
Belize.
Constitution. Oh,
The,
come on now.
aren't you
Come
having a
on.
difficulty right now with accepting just the first line in the
Because
Constitution of
that is
Belize as being
wrong. That is wrong. The
okay?
concept and the
Well,
precept of the
well,
laws of
that's what
Belize
I'm
are
saying.
no
That's what
different.
I'm saying. You cannot conflate one with the other. That is why you end up
The
with a
concept and the
debate
precept of the
going
laws of
forward.
Belize are no different than the laws of most other Commonwealth countries and the United States and the United Kingdom and most other
We're
Western
talking about
countries.
the law of Belize. We're not talking about no law about international countries and
It's the
international
same
law.
laws. It's the same laws. It's the
No, it's
same.
not.
Tell me one law we
You're
have in Belize.
conflating.
Tell me
And I
one
keep
law
trying to
in
say that to
Belize.
you over and over, and
Tell
like
tell me,
either you're
Mr.
not
Brackett,
hearing it or you don't believe it.
Mr. Brackett, tell me one constitutional law we have in Belize that is not the same law in terms of principle and idea than another law in another country.
Mr. Morrison, where
Mr.
you going
Morrison,
with that is called democracy. Each country around the world, their constitution is built on democracy. So it is identical and the same.
not all countries are
Okay?
democracies, sir. Not all countries are democracies, and not all democracies have the same law.
We
Please
know that
understand what you
that's
guys
not
are.
the point.
You're getting into a subject matter that you
No,
seem like you don't have
we're
the
talking
gravitas
about
to deal with,
constitution. We're not
and
talking
you're
about
trying to make
law.
it. You're trying to say it the way you want it to sound or be, and it can't because we don't say or we don't pronounce on other people's laws. Every country have their own law,
We talk,
their
Okay,
own
if
Mr.
peculiarities.
so, wait, Mr. Morrison,
We
if
talk.
so be the case, Mr. Brackett, you were speaking about the people in the Amazon. So why is it then that Israel and America wants to invade Iran? When they have their own law, they haven't fought against
You
any
should go and ask
country.
them. You should go and ask them, Mr.
But
Chairman.
that's what you
Ask them
putting
that
out there
question.
right now.
As they could answer that question for you.
But you putting it out there right now.
I didn't put nothing out there right now. Don't conflate. I
Because
don't
what
I
you
don't
are saying,
I don't operate in
every
the environment
country
of
have their
confusion.
own law, and
Yes,
it's not the same. So why can't they respect
Mr.
Iran
Chairman.
and its
Mr. Chairman,
law?
why don't believe have the what they call it? Oh shucks. Oh the law that we're trying to get the government to put in place for the UN.
UNCAC,
Why don't
UNCTAD.
believe have UNCAC? Why
That,
don't believe have UNCAC? That's an
that's because
international law.
our government just refused to hold themselves
to
accountable. That's why we
implement
don't have
it.
UNCA. But UNCA is not constitution. UNCA is going to be an ordinary law. It's going to be a law that says UNCA is going to be a law that says basically the politicians are to be held accountable. The politicians cannot have certain um, income and money without making proper disclosure of how those money was gained.
That, that
It's
is
going
that is that is under our current law, sir. That is under our current laws. It is okay.
Of course, Mr. Brackett, we know that, and oh,
Okay.
that's why
Well,
that's
well
why
then,
that's why that's why I don't support UNCA because we have the laws to do it, and they're not enforcing it.
because
But
you're
what
describing
UNCA,
UNCAC,
but Mr.
you're
Brackett,
describing
Mr.
the effort
Brackett,
of
Mr.
UNCAC
Brackett, Mr.
different
Brackett,
from what it
no,
is.
no, let's finish this point. But because the difference in what UNCA does is that it brings in an international organization that will hold them accountable and
Under
try them.
international law rather than under Belize law, right? That's why Belize right now
Inca is
was
not
supposed.
international law. Inca is a
It's the
regional
United
law.
Nation. Anything that
Yeah,
comes under
yeah.
the United Nation legal system is under international law, Mr. Morrison.
You understand what I'm saying? The
But
international law
then
is a
but
different
don't
thing.
say it the way
In-
you say it then because the way you're saying it is not correct. That's all I'm
no,
trying to
no, I'm
say.
saying it correctly. I'm saying
Because
UNCA
people
is
want to
not
take what you're saying and
international
run
law.
with it.
UNCA is going to be a regional law that we will adapt
It's
from
not
the United
regional.
Nations.
It's
From the
not
United
regional.
Nations. Oh,
It's international and you subscribe to it. You volunteer to subscribe to it. It cannot be imposed on you.
of course, of course.
Okay?
Like all the
But it's an
treaties
international
and
law.
like all the treaties and convention we sign on to. You can't be forced to do it. You can't be forced. You willingly decide as a country whether you want to give those up. When you're a poor little ass country like Belize, then you want the UN money, you want money from international organization.
You,
You
you
go
see
and you
how
sign up.
you,
You
you see how
you
far we strayed you see how
no
far we
no
strayed
no no. This it's the same
from the
issue. It's the
preamble.
same.
We strayed from the preamble of the Constitution to not accepting that the preamble is part of the Constitution to go into with a way out of left field.
No, because
Aye, aye, aye.
you don't want to.
Where and how did you came up with the idea that we said the preamble is not part of the Constitution?
I never said that. I never
The
said that.
preamble is the foundation of the
Sir,
Constitution.
with up on tape.
No, I didn't say the preamble is not the Constitution, Mr. Brackett. I'm the one that brought it up. I said the Constitution.
Can I explain something quickly? The point is that some people do not want to accept the preamble as having any true basis or the basis that it's supposed to be accrued with, because it mentioned about God first and foremost.
No, but
Let,
I told you that.
let me finish. Then, because it mentioned about God and us Belizeans saying in our preamble, in the first statement in the preamble, that we recognize God as the supreme entity. Okay, at that same ending, at that same paragraph there, where it says that we're supposed we accept God and we look at God as I was trying. That's why
The
I like to read
supremacy
anything
of
and
God.
make it
We
not sound
accept
like
the
they're my
supremacy
words.
of God.
But the bottom line is, people have, not only you, Mr. Morrison, thousands of people have objected to that. As a matter of fact, that when they were reviewing doing revision the other day for the Constitution, that is part of what they wanted to take out of there, because there were people in the group who, like yourself, do not ascribe to the issue that belief is supposed to be beholden to a God, when in fact most of the people that were in that room at that time putting that thing together were Roman Catholics. So
Yes,
how the devils were there, unless understand the history, understand where they come from and everything.
I
They're
understand
fighting,
perfectly, and
right?
I know George Price was studying to be a priest, so I know there's no way he would
More
not
than
have
him,
got.
the majority of the people I'm telling you that was
Yes,
in that
yes, yes,
room
yes, yes.
are
I
circulating those
know there
things.
was no way we were going to have a constitution without the precepts and the concepts as it is written in our current constitution.
But the real issue that I was trying to deal with when you stopped me initially in the discussion is
Mhm.
that I was trying to address and point out to the general public, as regards to that presentation I was making, how important and strategically critical is the the issue of our fundamental human and natural rights,
And
because we have
that's the way to put it.
and people,
That's the way to put it, Mr. Brackett. Fundamental and natural rights that are
but then why you
given
are
to
talking?
us,
I finished it then. Did they
and
cut me off and said the
prescribed.
same thing what I said?
Yeah, that
Did they
are
cut me off
given
and
to
said the
us
same
and
thing? Let me finish.
prescribed to us, that are given to us and prescribed to us by the Constitution, which is created by man. It is not a God in the heaven that gave us these rights, because that God does not
That
exist.
does.
That God has no enforcement power. It has no enforcement
Did I
power.
not? Did I
All
not
the
just,
enforcement and
Mr. Morrison? Did I not just tell you, sir?
infraction,
Did I not just tell you, sir,
Mr.
that there
Brackett,
was
Mr.
the
Brackett,
people in our room that make the
all the
Constitution?
enforcement and
You
all
can
the
finish, I
distraction.
mean, you cut me off every time I open my mouth to say one word. You make like a whole series of sentence. If you every one word I put out, you cut me off and take over the.
Okay,
Give me a chance to
gentlemen.
make a
All
finish.
right, Mr. Brackett,
Mr.
you have
Chairman,
five
Mr.
minutes.
Chairman,
5 minutes,
Chairman. Let
sir.
me finish say what I'm trying to say, sir.
5 minutes, sir. Your time is ticking.
Yeah.
I'm going to time him.
When can tell me when I could start?
Start.
Thank you. Okay. What I was trying to imply is that our fundamental rights, or inalienable rights, or natural rights, or international and human rights, or international rights as a human being, the government is precluded from having anything to do with. And there are some people who want to say, no, the government gives us those rights and therefore they can take it back, or they can do whatever they want with. They can amend them, they can change them. That is where that philosophy comes from, when they say that you don't have inalienable rights, you don't have fundamental rights, you don't have God-given rights, you don't have natural rights, you don't have international human rights. It's because of people who are scofflaws and people who are actually deviants with devious intents, trying to condition the minds of people who hear that kind of conversation with the idea that your rights can be abrogated, when the damn Constitution tells them the government has no power and should make no laws to abrogate or step on nobody's fundamental rights. But they want to go ahead and do it anyhow. So they convince a lot of people into believing that, well, they're the government, gives you these rights, they're the legislator, can make those rights, or they can change those rights. They cannot and have no authority or no power vested in them to do it, because whenever they go there to try and do that, just going there to try and do it, the laws that they come out with at the end of the day are flawed from the inception. But you have some people who create their laws there, they abrogate people's fundamental human rights, and then they turn around and victimize people with those rights. And because in order for you to gain redress or correction or vindication of your rights, you got to go and fight them. And they are the government. How the hell you as a civilian, unless you're a multimillionaire or a rich person, would be able to fight the government to vindicate you? It shouldn't have to be. No citizen or civilian should be put in a position where they have to go and fight the government to have their enshrined fundamental rights not be abrogated. Is my contention. Are you back, sir? Whatever of the 4 minutes was left.
That was only 3 minutes. Okay.
What are
I,
you back?
I, okay. I agree, and I never disagree that we have inalienable rights. I never disagree that we have natural rights. I never disagree that we have fundamental rights. I believe we have all those rights.
But
And
not
I
given by
believe
God, given by man. That is the
and
point.
I believe that those rights are
Uh-uh.
what we are enshrined with as an individual. But to bring to advance the concept that it's a God that grants you those rights is where I disagree. I believe that they are the natural rights of man. Once you live and breathe as a man, you have those basic fundamental rights. And you could have those rights without it coming from a God, and you could have those rights in a manner that they cannot be taken away from you by a court, by a um, legislature, by usurping or redirecting and changing the constitution that it fundament. I didn't interrupt you. That it fundamentally um, take away from the individual. Where I have total disagreement is that to think that those rights are only given to us by a God, that a God somehow, somewhere, wherever he exists, came down and said, you know what, Gregory, you have these basic. If that is the case, then society has failed for so many. This is only in the last 500 years of societal structure that these rights are being, maybe 700 since Magna Carta. I think it's 1,000 years since Magna Carta. That these rights are now being put and advanced as individual rights and limiting the power of the state, the power of the Lord, the power of the slave master. These are only now in modern society being advanced. So what has happened?
Long before the Magna Carta, Mr. Morrison, I
So
keep trying to repeat that to you, sir. Long before Magna Carta,
well,
long before the
some
Roman Empire, long before the Greek Empire, long
no,
before
that's
the
not
Persian
true. That's
Empire.
not true. That's not true, Mr. Brackett. That's not true. There,
Study
there, there
history
have been there have been some
anthropology.
societies.
Study
There,
history and anthropology, and you will come to that
and
conclusion.
Mr. Brackett, that's not true because women, for the most of societal history, have been defied and being abused of their basic fundamental rights. Long time
So you think
through
the only
modern.
woman, get abused of their fundamental rights?
No, no, no,
No,
no, no. I'm
women have
saying I'm
abused
just telling
men
you
of
as
their
a
Can
fundamental
class.
we
rights.
let him finish?
I'm
He,
just telling you as a class, they have long been
Uh,
denied of those same rights you're telling me that society has had espoused for people.
I'm
Slaves have
telling you,
been
those rights came long before any of those point in historical
the
time.
concept of rights and laws, and there have been some society long before modern and European societies adopted these
No,
principles. There are
no, you're getting
many
a little closer. No,
there
you're
are
getting a
many
little closer.
African societies that had
Preceded long many years.
some basic fundamental rights for
Long
human
before.
and individual. So I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying, and I'll wrap up, Mr. Chairman. I'm just saying that to believe that these rights could only be espoused to a God, a creator of that sort, is where I see the whole thing tumbling down. And it's not that I have anything against the concept of a creator. I support that. I just want to say that these rights stands alone and manage themselves. and function within the society without that gray image of mystic creation.
Thank, thank you, Mr. Morrison. Let me say this for correction, because we intend to speak out of context. But let me go back to the preamble, which states that our Constitution was built on the supremacy of God. I want to say this. The rights we are speaking about, and Mr. Morrison, what you are speaking about when you use the terminology God, I want to call it birthright, which has been around long before Magna Carta, whatever. What is your birthright? People look at it as to say we are children from a heavenly being or creator, as we so call God. This birthright is you have the right to life, you have the right not to be killed, etc. Then we have the fundamental right, okay? But it is how one looks at it. But I want to say again, the preamble is
Man,
the foundation of the Belizean constitution. It influences laws, but it cannot overwrite it. Okay? That is where the basic principles come from. And as I said earlier, it is based on law and morality, because our constitution, as well as many constitutions across the world, were designed from the Ten Commandments, which was the first law biblically that had in some of these same birthright laws that we are talking about.
Mr.
So,
Chairman.
gentlemen, that is what I have to say on that. We have come to the end of our
Uh,
time. We're
Mr.
way
Chairman.
over our time.
Yeah.
And
We, the Belizean people, affirm that the nation of Belize shall be founded upon principles which acknowledges the supremacy of God, faith in human rights, and fundamental freedoms, the position of the family in a society of free men and free institutions, the dignity of the human person, and the equal and inalienable right with which all members of the human family are endowed by their Creator. Respect the principles of social justice and therefore believe that the operation of the economic system must result in the material resources of the community being so distributed as to subserve the common good, that there should be adequate means of livelihood for all, that labor should not be exploited or forced by economic necessity to operate in inhumane conditions, but that there should be opportunity for advancement on the basis of recognition,
isn't that the fundamental
merit,
rights you are speaking about, sir?
ability, and integrity. Just a minute, sir. That equals protection should be given to children, regardless of their social standings or status, and that a just system should be ensured to provide for education and health on the basis of equality. We believe that the will of the people shall form the basis of governance in a democracy society in
Sir,
which the government is freely elected by universal adult suffrage, and in which all persons may, to the extent of their capacity, play some part in the institutions of national life, and thus develop and maintain due respect for lawful uh, constituted authority, recognize that men and institutions remain free only when freedom is founded upon respect for, for moral and spiritual values and upon the rule of law, requires policies.
Mr. Brackett,
Just a minute, sir. Last,
why are you
require,
reading? Why are you reading all that?
requires policies of state which protect and safeguard the unity, freedom, sovereignty, and territorial integrity of Belize, which eliminates economic and social privileges and disparity among the citizens of Belize, whereby race, ethnicity, color, creed, disability, or sex, which ensures gender equality, which protects the rights of the individual to life, liberty, basic education, basic health, the right to vote in elections, the right to work, and the pursuit of happiness, which protect the identity, dignity, and social and cultural values of Belize. And the last part,
Mr. Brackett, I ask you again, explain to me the difference between what you are reading that is fundamental right and birthright, or what you call God-given right.
Mr. Chairman, what I'm reading here is the preamble of Belize. I mean, the preamble of the Constitution. Okay?
We know you're reading the
Mi-
preamble of the
No, no,
But
no.
Constitution,
You
Mr.
asked,
Brackett,
you
no,
asked if
I
I
did
was.
not take any exception to the preamble of the country.
Okay, but there are people out there who don't know these things, who don't have a constitution of their own, and who have not. They hear us debate these things back and forward. They don't hear or see or know, or they don't go to the library and pick up a copy of the stuff and read it for themselves. The purpose of our presentation here tonight on the show is to elucidate people, not the ones who know, the lawyers or the, the people who are dealing with this thing on a regular basis. I could have done read the rest of the thing long time instead of try to explain.
but you're reading that, sir, when we have
I
come to
read
the end
something
of the
where I read,
program.
yes, but I'm reading something at most that you are aware of, that Mr. Morrison is aware of, and that many other elite people are aware of. But the program is not just for the elite people. We're
But
not trying to
Mr.
get no
Brackett,
lawyers. So we're not trying to get no lawyers.
Mr. Brackett, no, 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 no. I don't have a problem of you reading that, but I have a problem of you enforcing that at this time because that is what you are doing, which fall way outside of what we were discussing. That is why
Uh,
I asked you the question, what is the
Mr.
difference
Chairman,
between
you're
the
saying that
fundamental
you're,
right and the birthright?
it's the same reason why I was reading it, because you're saying that what I'm reading is far outside what we were discussing. And what we were discussing is what this is saying of itself. It is not my words. I stopped trying to use my words to convince you guys what unless you guys are in disagreement with what is in here, okay? We should not have been having that kind of debate that we had just now, because it's self-evident. It's right here in black and white. So the debate that we had, as a minimum, people should hear it from where the Constitution is said right now, just only what we need to say just now.
But Mr. Brackett, I sit in the back and I listen to you,
And you
started
asked,
the program.
and you was asking if that was if I was
You
reading.
started the program, sir,
Yes, but you was
outside
asking me,
of
Mr.
fundamental
Chairman.
rights.
You just
You
asked me if
started
I
the
was reading.
program with God-given rights.
Yes, but you just asked me just now if I was reading from the fundamental rights, which means
But
that even you didn't recognize what I was reading. How
I
then
know
do you
exactly
expect
what
that
you're
you are somebody
reading.
who deals with a lot of legal stuff,
I know exactly what you were reading. And I
compared
know
to other
why
people
you're
who don't deal
reading
with
it.
legal stuff and don't have no knowledge or no basis?
You are
For
reading
them,
it to enforce
you're
what you are saying, sir.
to, to
I've been
clarify
down this
and for
road
people to
before.
see and to hear for themselves, rather than just hear the debate that we had. That's all I was doing, reading it for the people to hear it for themselves, what it says there, unless we don't believe or accept what it says there or give it credence. That's all I was trying to do, give it credence in its own words, rather than my words that I was trying to use for the debate that I was debating with you gentlemen. People need to know. That's how they become bamboozled so easily by those jackals who are running the country because they don't know. And we who are supposed to know, not have the patience or take the time to try and help them to learn and know what they didn't born knowing. That's all. Are you, Mr. Chairman? Sure, sure, sir. Thank you for the privilege.
Mr. Morrison, can you do the closing, please?
Good evening. Good evening. I want to say once again to our listeners that's out and abroad across the diaspora in Belize and wherever you are. It's always our pleasure to come to you on Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday nights and to talk about these very important issues. Sometimes it's constitutional, sometimes it is issues as relevance to what's actually going on in the country. But it always has the flavor of trying to bring forth our knowledge and to share it with you, the people out there, and to also get your input and your interjection of where things are and how you think, and to kind of keep stirring a debate on what drives us as individuals and what will propel the country of Belize into making those necessary steps so that we start advancing our nationhood as a country and as a people. So, with that, I say thank you and good night, and I turn it back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. I
Nice to
give
meet you,
you
Mr.
two
Morrison.
minutes, Mr. Brackett, to say something.
No, sir. 1 minute to say? No, I didn't hear you properly just now. Did you say 1 minute? Or can I get 1 minute, Mr. Chairman? Or 2 minutes
Two
to say?
minutes, sir.
I think I only need 1 minute.
Okay.
Um, just give me a second here, please. I'm just want to read this um, paragraph F. It's about less than 50 words. So I'll just try and read it quickly and be over with it. We desire that their society shall reflect and enjoy the above mentioned principles, which I had read some of them earlier and I didn't finish read the rest. Those which above mentioned principles, beliefs, and needs and their constitution should reflect, enshrine, and make provisions for uh, ensuring the achievement of the same in Belize. That is the directive from our forefathers to the drafters of the citations in the Constitution in order to bring about what we aspire to bring about. And it's on that basis that Section 3, all the way through Section 19, in regards to our human rights or fundamental rights or international human rights as well, or natural rights, and all the other rights that the government is precluded from constitutionally from violating or abrogating. But we have some jackals now trying to wipe out these things from the Constitution in order to leave themselves to be exculpated from transgressing the very laws that they're supposed to be governing the country by. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Brackett.
Thank you very much, sir.
I want to close by saying this again. The preamble of the Constitution is the foundation upon which our Constitution was built. While it is the foundation, it can influence law, but it cannot overwrite law. While the preamble specified that our Constitution was built on the supremacy of God, I believe that some people take the wording supremacy of God out of context because that is where law and morality sets in. Morality is what is inside one's own being, which has been around for a long time. And I want to further state there's a difference between your God-given right, the God-given right, and fundamental rights. In specificity, the right to life is different from your fundamental right. And I want to leave you, the people, with that tonight as we say good night.